Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Too Good to Be True podcast. I am your host, Pascal Mayela. Uh, Today in this podcast, we will talk about the NFC right now. I believe 4 days ago, 3 or 4 days ago, I did the AFC. You can check it out. It is available on my YouTube channel. And now we're gonna attack the NFC for the NFL's season and prediction. So if you want to follow me on social media, like I said, I will give you later. But before that, I want you guys to listen to this podcast on on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Castbox, and any platform you can listen. Or if you want to see me visual like this, like this, you can see me on my YouTube channel, Too Good to Be True podcast. And I want you guys to do something: subscribe, like, notify, and leave your comment in the community or in the video because your comment means a lot to me. So let's start. Let's start talk about the NFC. So I'm gonna share my screen with you guys, and let's talk about it right now. Now, let's start with the NFC East. The NFC East. So let's start with the Philadelphia Eagles. And I'm not gonna do what I did last week, a couple of days ago, to say the name, but you can see the name in front of you right now, which the Philadelphia Eagles drafted. Right now, for that, I know the Eagles had lost Jason Pierre is in retirement. Fletcher Clark's in retirement on the defensive side. But they added Saquon Barkley um, from the New York Giants. And what my thought about this Eagle, I think the Eagle will bounce back because last season it was really a disaster. Even though they won 11, I believe it was 11 games, but most of the game were not satisfied. And I remember what I was listening today on Nightcap when Shannon Sharp said, "Don't take the victory too kind because every victory have a defeat." Yeah, it's something like that. I'm paraphrasing, but you learn the your defeat, your game by a loss. So that's why I say for the Eagles, they had they were pretty much confused team. I remember. I mean, they were like 11, but they didn't play well. They didn't play like they did the year they went to the Super Bowl. So they had to really figure it out right now. Now they had a new defensive coordinator coach, Fangio, who came from the Miami Dolphins, and I think it's up to Nick Sirianni what he's gonna do. Because if he doesn't succeed as the head coach of Eagles to bring the Eagles to the Super Bowl, I think he will get fired this season if they fail. The roster will be okay, but the coach will be fired. That's what I'll say about for the Eagles. So what is my prediction for the for this Eagle? I think they'll win I think they'll win the NFC East, but they will play in a wild card. So if you ask me how many wins they'll get, I think they'll get 13-6, 13-6, 13-4, something like that. So I'll go 13 victories because I know if I look at their schedule, if you look at their schedule, I think they got pretty much not the. You know what the easiest schedule in the NFC East? I mean, with exception of Green Bay, maybe Atlanta, New Orleans, we don't know who they are, which I will talk about it later when will do my NFC South. The Bengals will be a great match. The Jaguar will be a great match. The Dallas will be a great match. Baltimore, uh, and the Rams will be a good match. So it will depend how they're gonna show up. So that's my what I say my prediction for the Eagles. Next is the New York Giants. Oh boy, I got a lot to say about the New York Giants, but I don't want to jinx them. Actually, unlike the Cowboys, we're going to talk the Cowboys later. I'm not going to jinx them because the Giants are a terrible team. And I know they drafted wide receiver Malik Nambers. I know he's a rookie, and they drafted a replacement um, uh, for Saquon Barkley by Tyron Tracy Jr. But they're just rookies, and and for this season, it all depends on Daniel Jones. If he doesn't perform this season, and I said this season, if you're a Giant fan who listen to me right now on visual or on audio, if Daniel Jones doesn't perform, I guarantee you the New York Giants will find a new QB quarterback. And it's not a knock on Daniel Jones. He's a nice guy. But the problem is with Daniel Jones that you play in New York. I mean, New York is the big marketing of media. Same thing with the Jets. I mean, they got Aaron Rodgers, but look at what's going on with the Jets over there. So this is going to be like his last opportunity to show something. If he doesn't show up, I think he's going to be traded or get released, or and the Giants front office will draft another quarterback. So what is my prediction for them? Not making the playoff. I think they'll go 6, 6, 11. That's my prediction for the Giants. Next is the Washington Commanders. So what did I think about the Washington Commanders? I think they did offseason did pretty good. Drafting the number one QB what they wanted, Jaden Daniel. I know they're not, and I'm gonna say this: they're in a rebuild in the right direction. They're not gonna make the playoff unless they're gonna fight to go to the wild card. That I can see, but realistic, they're not gonna make the playoff. And but the process is still continuing. You still got Scary Terry in the wide receiver, and and you get a new makeup, new front office. And in my opinion, I would say they did not make it a playoff, but I think they're gonna fight for the a wild card. So for them, I will give them 9-8 victory. Only for that. And finally, the Dallas Cowboys. Sorry, the Dallas Cowboys. My thought, my thought on the Dallas Cowboys. This off season, actually not my team, but the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, it's been a discussion about the new Dak contract, CD Lamb contract, and Michael Parsons contract for this the 2025 off season. And I will tell you right now, things aren't gonna look good because if Dak doesn't perform, he can say goodbye. If I'm Dak, I'll get the hell out of the Dallas Cowboys team after this season because Jerry Jones, maybe he's gonna pay him, maybe he's not gonna pay him, but I do think that the Dallas Cowboys will make the playoffs. Look at the NFC. Mhm. But I think they're gonna fail again in the wild card, but specifically in the divisional round. So I'll give them another 12, 12, 12 and 6, 12 and 6 for the Cowboys. But but just remind that we got to pay attention to next off season. So I want everybody to focus on the next off season, not now. I know Michael Parsons will get paid. That's a guarantee. But Dak will be an issue. So that's all I gotta say about that. Moving on. Let's go to the NFC North. Ooh, NFC North. Let's look at the Chicago. Let's look at the Chicago Bears. They will be interesting. The Chicago Bears, they just drafted Caleb Williams. They just have who came on from the Rams, Keenan Allen, DJ Moore got signed a new contract. Everything in the new wide receiver, they have Rome Adunze, wide receiver, and I will tell you that. I will tell you something. They're not going to the playoffs, but it will. But Caleb will win Rookie of the Year, Offensive Rookie of the Year. I know they're not there yet, but they're still kind of like a pieces missing, you know. So that's pretty much the easiest thing I said for the easiest thing I said for the Bears. They're not making the playoff, but to me, I'll give them 7 13, 12 to 13, something like that. Seven victory. Moving on for the next team, we got the Minnesota Vikings. Minnesota Vikings. What can I say about them? They just lost Kurt Cousin. They drafted JJ McCarthy. Now he's out for the season, and Sam Darnold will replace him for the rest of the season. So what can I say about them? They're probably gonna make the wild card, but personally, I think they're not gonna make the playoff. I know Justin Jefferson gonna miss Kirk Cousin, and for me, and to be honest, I don't think they're gonna make the playoff unless a miracle happens in week 12, week 13, I think week 14 and 15. Unless a miracle happen, but to me, the Vikings not gonna make the playoff. I think they could go 8 and 9, personally. 8 and 9 for the season. This is my opinion. So, mhm. So you can keep your own opinion. I got my opinion. So moving on, the Green Bay Packer. I mean, what can I say about the Green Bay Packer? They just lost Aaron Jones. Now he's playing for the Vikings. Just pick it back for the Vikings. Yeah, they did lose Kirk Cousins, but they add Aaron Jones and the running back. I just forgot to say that. Even though he's not with the Green Bay Packers, now he's playing for the uh, Minnesota Vikings. To me, the Green Bay Packers surprised all of us last season with Jordan Love. Actually, when the second half of the season, they surprised a lot of people, including myself, with the Jordan Love in the second half, and also they surprised me how to beat the Cowboys, off offense and defense. So I'm not gonna be surprised if they make it to the playoff. I do think they're gonna make the playoff. So I think they make the play. I think they'll have 12 win. 12 win in my opinion. 12 win. Jordan Love will still continue to improve. And maybe one day he will win MVP or Offensive Player of the Year. But right now, I see them in the wild card. That's my opinion for the uh Green Bay Packers. And finally, the Detroit Lions, who, by the way, they were the Cinderella story last season. They made it to the NFC championship against the 49ers, even though they lost. But you can see the future is bright for them. Amon-Ra St. Brown, I mean, got paid. He got paid. So Jared Goff, to me, I think he's been the revelation that everybody's been waiting. And by the way, Jared Goff had his best season as a Lion to me than the Rams. First, this is my personal thought. But you know, they will make the playoff. But I don't know if they're gonna make the NFC. Me personally, I think they will. And I think they're gonna. I think for the victory, if you give me a prediction, how many wins they win? I'll say 14 win. 14 win for the Detroit Lions. So they kept the roster the same. So I just want to remind everybody. Now moving on from the NFC North, and let's go to the NFC South. One of the weakest, actually, it is one of the weakest division. And let's start with Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Baker Mayfield got paid. They drafted pretty good. They drafted pretty good, and I think it's gonna be. And I'll give my prediction. So I think they're gonna fight for the wild card. I will give them 10 out of 6. The Baker Mayfield will be there. Mike Evans, I believe he got. I don't think he was a free agent this season, but to me personally, I think that the Buccaneers will win 10 wins out of 6. Probably they're gonna fight the wild card, but it will be a dogfight in the NFC South. So you don't know who's gonna come out in the NFC South. So this is my opinion. Next is my New Orleans Saints. Oh boy, I got something to say about my team. Yes, I am a New Orleans Saints fan. Okay, last year wasn't our best year, and there were some games we should have won. We should have won. I think about the one against the Green Bay Packer with a field goal kick, and one against the Jackson Jaguar on Thursday night. He should have caught the ball. We could have made a noise in the playoffs, but it is what it is. My opinion about my Saints is, can Derek Carr can get off his monkey on his back and bring New Orleans Saints to the playoffs? Because if he doesn't, my Saints and the front office had to do something about it. It'll blow up this team completely and restart from scratch. That's the only thing I can say for my Saints. Um, Starting from scratch. So do I think they're gonna be in the playoff? I don't know, but I will give them a 9 and 8. Well, I'll 10 a 10, 10 out of 8. So 10 victory, 8 loss. It will depend how the Buccaneers gonna play and the Falcons gonna play. So that's my opinion about that. Moving on, the Carolina Panthers, and I got nothing to say about the Panthers. Other than a rebuild team, Adam Thielen is there. They drafted a lot of great players, as you can see on your screen. Bryce Young, I know last year wasn't his year, and I think he's gonna bounce back. They're not gonna make the playoff, but you can see the growth and the maturity of Bryce Young and their new head coach also too. They got a new head coach too. Forgot about that. So I got nothing much to say. They're not gonna make the playoffs. Probably they're gonna win five wins. 5 wins. But in 3 or 6 years, the Carolina Panthers will make the playoffs. Will make some noise in the playoffs. And finally, the Atlanta Falcons, who just got Kirk Cousins and drafted Michael Penix Jr. So I know there's been controversial between the QB situation about why they drafted Michael Penix Jr. and they just got paid Kirk Cousins, and also don't forget it's a $10 million guarantee. So I don't want to hear people say, "Oh, they made a mistake." I kn- the Falcon knows what they're doing. So Michael Penix Jr. will sit down and look at the Kirk Cousin. Is what he's gonna be like a student, so how to prepare, and so on and so forth. But do I think they're gonna make the playoffs? It would depend how it's gonna play out for in NFC, because somebody has to come out in the NFC South. Somebody has to come out. Come out. It has to be between the Bucks, the Falcon, or the Saints. It's gonna be a battle. But to me, um, I'll give them 12 wins. That's my opinion for the Falcon. Moving on, and final thought. So the final NFC division, the NFC West. And let's start with who? The Rams. My nemesis team. So for the Rams, Aaron Donald retired. They need to rebuild for the defensive tackle. They need a new defensive tackle, and Matthew Stafford will be good. And Puka Nakua will ball out. He will have an amazing second year. Cooper Cup just came back from injury. I think he will be healthy enough. I think they will be I think they will be everybody's sleepers team. And you know what? I do think they're the sleepers team. So to me, I think they're gonna fight to the wild card, but I think they'll go 11 win. This is my prediction for the Rams. Let me just get down and look at the draft. Which player got drafted? Uh, which the Ram player they chose. And to me, this is a super team, like I said. But I think it's going to be a fight between the Rams and the 49ers and the Seahawks in the NFC West. So I said 11 win for the Rams. Moving on for another team in the NFC West, Seattle Seahawks. I know they have still Geno Smith. They fired Pete Carroll. I think they need next year a new QB because Geno Smith is not the long plan term. But do I think they're gonna make the playoff? Yes. I'll say no. I'll say no, but they'll fight. I'll give them 8 and 9, between 9 and 8 to 8 and 9, because you know the NFC West, and it's gonna be a dogfight. Just like the NFC South, it's gonna be a dogfight. So I give them between 9 and 8 on their victory. Moving on, you got the San Francisco 49ers, who just came back from a Super Bowl. and lost. And Brendan Ayuk has signed a new contract. Now it just left Trent Williams. And before we continue, I just want to say this: wide receiver Ricky Pearsall got shot during a weekend. That he wanted to buy some Rolex, and he got shot by a 17-year-old kid. And we wish nothing but the best and speed recovery and get your mental on the right track. And my prayers with you that you'll be okay. Just I want just to say that. But moving on, I think they're gonna win the NFC West. Is do I think it's gonna be in a playoff? That will depend on what road they're gonna be. But if I will choose which win how many wins they're gonna win, I think they're gonna win 50 win. Because if you look at their schedule, I look at their schedule right now. They probably got the easiest. Well, now they're gonna go against the Chiefs. That'll be a hard test. The Bills, the Dolphins, the Lions, and the Jets. That would be interesting. That would be interesting. So to me, they're gonna win they're gonna win 14 win in my opinion because Debo Samuel there, Brock Purdy is there, Ayuk now is just there on defense. It's just Trent Williams need to be signed and CMC running the ball. Actually, I got nothing to say about that. And finally, the Arizona Cardinal. So what can I say about that? They're on a rebuild. Kyler Murray is still their QB. They just drafted Marvin Harrison Jr. Um, for them, they're in a rebuild. They're not a playoff yet, but I do think they're gonna surprise. But personally, they're not gonna make the playoff. So to me, they're gonna win between 7 and 8 win, in my opinion. But the future is bright for this Arizona Cardinal. So I got nothing to say about that. Now that it's over right now, I'll give my prediction who's going to go to the NFC championship. To me, for the 49ers, I think there will be a rematch between the 49ers and the Lions. I do believe that. And this time the Lions are going to win and they're going to the Super Bowl. That's my opinion. But thank you very much for listening to this podcast. I hope everybody have right there in America or in Canada have a great Labor Day. And if you want to follow me on social media, follow me on Instagram, Pascal underscore Mayala underscore 15. Same thing with threads. Instagram is at Bally versus PMM. If you want to, like I said, follow me. If you want to listen to this podcast, you can listen to this podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon Music, and Castbox. Or you can want to see me visually on my YouTube channel, Too Good to Be True podcast. You can subscribe, like, leave your comment, and don't forget also to be notified on the or and leave your comment also in the community because I post some news on sport on on society everything even celebrities and so on and so forth. So I will say this: thank you very much for listening to this podcast, and this is your boy Pascal Mayala. See you next time.